What's up everyone, I'll be reviewing a 2-5 session I played at Parks Casino in Pennsylvania. The action's great, they've got plenty of tables with an amazing staff. I'll be giving detailed hand analysis along with profit and loss on each session. Hopefully I could teach a little bit and also improve my game as well. Enjoy. So for this hand here, I'm in the cutoff and I look down at Queen 10 suited. There's a limp, middle position +1 opens it up to 20 and the hijack calls 20. Here we arrive at our first decision to raise or call. This is an awesome hand to call with tons of playability. The problem with that though is the limper will certainly make the call and will be headed 4 ways to a flop where we can easily get coolered flush over flush or be dominated by other queens. Sure, there's still plenty of playability, but there's another factor to account for. I've been sitting for about an hour and a half at this point, and the initial raiser was frequently raising, getting involved in many pots, and when this happens you can 3-bet a bit looser to isolate and play pots against them, especially when you're in position. So I elect to 3-bet to 75. I'd like to have gone closer to 90 in this spot with another caller before him, but again, I wanted to actually play this hand against him and didn't want him to fold his 6-7 suiteds, etc. So it folds back to him and you can hear him side call. Without diving too much into live tells, this will either mean extreme strength or extreme weakness. He was a very talkative guy and I enjoyed our conversation, so I took it at face value, extreme weakness. The hijack folds and we're headed to a flop of Queen 2-6 rainbow. With my playstyle, I c-bet practically every flop when I raise regardless of what hand I have, and need to keep a balanced range of some checks. So you can't always check with complete air, you need to check back some strong to medium hands as well. We're headed to a turn of an 8, bringing in a heart flush draw. He checks and now I bet 80, which is around half pot. He basically snap calls, so in the moment I'm thinking he now picked up some weird flush draw, straight draw, or something. The river's a brick too and he instant checks again. Now I'm targeting some kind of 6, 8, or maybe even ace high that he'd weirdly call with. So I fire for 150, again in the half pot range. He gets in the tank, immediately starts sighing, which is a great sign. I targeted exactly what I'm putting him on, and I'm rooting for a call. He audibles, what can I beat, and flips his hand over to try to get a raid from me. He flips over Queen 8 suited, not at all what I was expecting, and at this point I see that his hand is better than mine. If he puts in the call, I lose roughly $300 on the hand. As he's clearly trying to get a raid off me, I don't move a muscle. Without much thought, he tosses his hand away and says nice hand. Wow, I could take a deep breath and drag in my over $500 pot. Aggression in lower stakes definitely pays off. Although I was value baiting, I somehow got him to fold 2 pair. Sure, my 3-bet represents awesome hands, but not much beats him there. With less than maybe 5 combos of hands beating him, that needs to be a call there. Regardless, we stack our chips and regroup mentally for the next hand. For the next hand here, I'm in the small blind and look down at pocket 9s. There's a straddle on in this hand and there are 2 callers from the hijack and the cutoff. I make it 50. I should be sizing up a bit here to about 60, maybe even 65, but the initial straddler was a huge action fish that always drinks heavily at the table, and I wanted to make sure I was playing with him even out of position. Regardless, I go $50 in the moment, and the initial straddler who is under the gun and the hijack calls while the cutoff folds. You certainly should be sizing up on your raises out of position when you're in the small blind or big blind for reference. The flop comes 7 of diamonds, 8 of diamonds, and 4 of hearts. Great flop for me, and the initial straddler who calls with any 2 cards and frequently calls flop and turn bets should have plenty of 8s and 7s and random hands to call down with here. Plus he could have a flush draw of some sort that I could get value from. I elect to go half pot with a c-bet of $75 and to my surprise both players call. I was somewhat worried about the hijack who was still playing on the tighter side. Still plenty of hands for him to have, such as a flush draw, any 2 overs, and possibly jack 10 for overs with a gut shot. We're headed to a beautiful turn and the 3 of hearts. Now is the biggest decision for me. What sizing do I bet here? Honestly, after the hijack called, I debated going into check call mode as it's very possible for him to have a strong hand here he's trapping with or even 10s and jacks that he flatted my raise with. I decided to cut out and bet $125, which is on the 1/3 pot size, with the pot being $375. I'll share my comments on sizing after the hand is over. The initial raiser folds and the hijack calls, which is just the complete opposite of what I wanted to happen. We're headed to a river which looks semi-clean in the Queen of Spades. The flush draws brick, the straight draws brick, but nothing left to get value from in my opinion, so I check and he checks back. He flips over King Queen of diamonds and I frustratingly toss my 9s into the muck. My comments on the hand are as followed. I actually like how I played the hand. I bet the entire time I was ahead, but I think I 1000% need to go bigger on the turn. It's hard because I accomplished what I was trying to do, which was get paid by draws, and as I pull up this graphic here, you'll see on the flop we're a dead 50-50, but on the turn I'm a 70% chance to win the hand. So yes, every time I will want him to put in his $125 into the pot, as 70% of the time they'll be getting pushed my way. I just think I gave him such a good price to continue when I should have sized closer to 200 to 225. He may have folded for that price though, you just never know. It's hard to be results oriented when he hits one of the roughly 14 outs he needs to win on the river. Such is life, and especially poker, all I can do is play the best I can. I certainly won't be showcasing just wins on this channel, as I personally think it's even more important to showcase losses to explain what I think I did right and what I did wrong, because sometimes you can even play exactly the right way and still lose the hand, and that's just poker. On to the next hand. So we have a non-interesting hand here as I pick up jacks under the gun, and something that I like to do sometimes is just limp under the gun depending on table dynamics. I was at a very loose, very raise heavy table, so I knew I could comfortably limp under the gun and come over the top with a re-raise once somebody else raises. That's exactly what happens, as the cutoff makes it $15. Both the blinds call, and then I raise to 75. And I'll let you listen in on some of the table talk here, as it was pretty funny what they had to say after that. But everybody folds, and we pick up about $50 uncontested.
Bro, if you're gonna hit us with the limp raise, like, come on, show the kings, show the kings. It's good for the game. One time, hey, I'll give you $5 to show the kings. Go ahead.
AAA.
Kings are better. Kings are better. Oh,
I was sitting there like, that's why I took so long. I was like,
this joker limped under the gun. That's not 2009.
No, I smelt it too.
That limp raise shit don't work no more, man.
I was like, let me see how much he's gonna raise this on the limp raise. I'm gonna call the pit.
Buckle in, as this is not only the hand of the night, but definitely one of my favorite hands that I've ever played in my entire poker career. It starts with a limp from the person who I've labeled funny guy, who was clowning me for limping under the gun in the previous hand. I look down at black eights and raise to 25, and it folds back to him, and he 3-bets to 90. I'll keep his cards hidden until the end of the hand, so you can sweat this hand out with me and try to determine for yourself what he possibly could have. I've been playing for about 3 hours here, and have seen this guy raise frequently, bet frequently, call, and do plenty of things at the table. He certainly is far from tight, which leads me to do many different things in this hand. Against tighter opponents, I really may just fold 8s here, as they'll always have 10s through aces with the occasional ace-king suited, but to this guy, I'm never folding, and I'm actually debating a 4-bet here, as he would 1000% be 3-betting me with any Broadway suited holdings and many others. Regardless, I go with the flat call, as there is plenty playability here, and I want him to blast off with his Broadway holdings if the flop comes all low cards. That's exactly what we get in the 9 of diamonds, 7 of diamonds, and the 2 of clubs. He bets $95, and I proceed with just a flat call. Nothing else to do here, as raising will blow him off everything besides better hands, unless he specifically has king queen, ace king, or jack 10 of diamonds. The turn comes an absolute beautiful card in the 8 of diamonds. We bank a set, 3 of a kind. I'm very suspicious though when he checks it over to me. I would expect him to barrel again with any high cards containing a diamond, such as ace-king with 1 diamond, even 10s through aces with just 1 diamond. So I did think for a small chance he just hit a flush here and is trapping. Regardless, I cannot give a free card, as a 4th diamond would be disastrous, and I settle on a sizing of $150. My thought here is with stack to pot ratios, this would set up a perfect jam on the river, pending no bad card such as a 10 or any diamond. He calls, which confirms my suspicions of possibly a big pair or Broadway with just 1 diamond, and we get an even better river in the 2 of hearts. We arrive here with the 3rd nuts, as only pocket 9s and pocket 2s are beating us, and are set up for a perfect jam when he checks to us. We jam $650, making it super polarizing. What that means for those that don't know is when I go all in here, I'm either saying I've got a super strong hand in pocket 7s, 8s, 9s, or the nut flush, or I've got a complete airball bluff and I'm trying to steal the pot. When you make a move like this, opponents are put in the blender. They find it hard to piece together what you're doing and find it very hard to put you on a hand. My opponent doesn't snap call or fold, so it appears he has a real decision on his hands. I'm obviously rooting for a call, and drum roll please. He calls. We flip over the 8s, and he flips over pocket aces in disgust. $2,000 getting pushed our way with a nice profit of $1,000 in this hand alone. Couldn't have played this any better, and I'm super happy with the result. I'm happy I didn't decide to thin bet river with a 200 to 250 sizing, as he would snap, and we'd miss out on over $400 of value, but wow, what a hand. As this is my first video, I wanted to put my stats up from the Poker Bankroll Tracker app up here to just show a few things. I just turned 21 in July, so I've only been playing at Park since November, but my stats are pretty astonishing. I try to go as much as I can, but between school and everything else in my life, I might be only to get in about 8-ish hours a week. This is why my hourly rate is so high, as I can pick and choose when and which games I want to get into at the best hours and only play maybe 3 hours each session, picking up my spots correctly, making sure I'm at the right tables, make my money, and leave. I don't do this for a living, so I don't have to grind out 40 hours a week and play through bad times and bad tables. I had to get the hang of things right away, but since November I've been over $2,000 a month, killed it in January and December, and I'm off to an awesome start in February, up over $1,900 about halfway through the month. I'm super blessed to be able to do this. I hope everyone enjoyed the video. I'll be trying to come out with as much content as I can. My goal is to showcase the ups and downs of poker along with share my knowledge about the game as much as I possibly can. I learned a lot of my play through watching others play. I swear by it. I believe it's the best way to not only learn the game, but learn it at such a deep level. There's always more to learn, as even I still to this day learn every single day. The game is constantly changing and you need to stay ahead. Have a great day everyone, and thanks for watching.